Maureen.
Hi, Linda.
And what are we here to work on today?
We're going to make the quilt reflections, which was shown in the beginning of this video.
Okay, well, let's get started. I'm going to do a quick demo on how to cut out your fabrics. And for illustration purposes today, I have stacked 11 lights and 11 darks. And I have stacked them in the order that I would like them sewn together. So this top piece here goes with this blue here. And then this one would go with my raspberry color. So match up your pieces on how you would like them to go together and stack them accordingly. Fabric number 11 here goes with fabric number 11 of my dark, etc. And I've stacked them on top of each other. What we'll need today to get started is in your pattern, there are template layout sheets that we'll be using to cut out fabrics today. And the template layout sheets look like this, and they actually will say template layout sheet on them. You don't cut these apart, you just cut around the outside edges. And there's quite a few of them, so you won't run short of those. So we've got our lights stacked and the edges fairly well straight together here. I'm going to trim that off, and my darks. On the back of your reflections pattern, it tells you the fabric requirements. And you're to choose 21 light fabrics and 21 dark fabrics. And each piece is to be cut 13.5 inches by 21 inches, which is what we've done here today. I can myself easily cut through 11 fabrics with a sharp blade in my big rotary cutter. So that's what I'm going to work on today. On page 2 of your pattern, it gives you the cutting instructions down here. Probably one of the most important things to remember when you cut reflections is the very first step, which is to cut one 2.5 inch by 21 inch strip. So we're going to cut a 2.5 inch strip all the way across down here. So you need to make sure you do that first before you do anything else. And I'm going to do that right now. So you see I'm going to be cutting off a little bit. Not too much, but enough to get myself a nice straight edge here. So we'll just throw that there. So again, I always double check. It's a 2.5 inch strip. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my 2.5 inch strip. Which is right here. I'm just going to pull that down. Now the next step, it says, is to cut 2.5 by 9.25 inch pieces. So I need to trim this up to be 9.25 inch pieces across this way. So big ruler square here, and I'm going to use that for my purposes of this. So we're going to cut across now 9.25 inches this way. So you can see there was enough fabric excess here that we don't need to worry. So we're just going to cut straight across.
So to make it clear, you're cutting 9.25 by 21 inches is what you're cutting.
Right,
now.
I'm cutting 9.25 inches wide right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to go right here and trim this off. Okay.
The important thing is to make sure you get all the edges lined up square, right?
Right. And now we're going to cut 2.5 inch strips here. So these will be 2.5 by 9.25. So I'm going to go 1 and 2. So I have my long 2.5 inch strip. Now I've cut these two 9.5 by 9 1/4 inch strips. Now our next step is to cut a 9 1/4 by 15.5 inch piece. So we had our 9 1/4 this way. So now we need 15.5 inch this way. So I've got it, let me see here, I just got to get myself organized here. I'm going to trim up from this edge also. Let's see here. Yep. So now I need 15.5 on this direction. So this is 15 here, so I need to move over to 1/2. And about right there. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to place a template layout sheet on this stack of fabrics here. And I'm going to use paper clips to keep everything in place. So I'm just going to put a paper clip on each segment and avoid my cutting lines. And we'll talk about those in a minute. But this will hold our templates in place to the fabric. Okay, now we've got everything paper clipped together, and I'm going to start cutting this template apart. And on these templates, she's got them very well labeled. She shows you cut line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And the cut lines are the solid lines right here. So we're just going to start cutting on the solid lines. My cut line 1 is over here. So we just cut like that, and you can see now everything is held together very nicely. Okay, so now everything's been cut apart. And you will notice on the cutting template sheet here that we have units that are labeled M2. And then we have on one end it's labeled M1. And on the other end it's labeled M3. So I'm going to stack my M2s together in a pile. Just put my paper clips on, don't take anything apart, leave your paper on. And got some clamps here. I'll take a big clamp and see if I can clamp this together.
Those are just office clamps from like your office supply store.
Mm-hmm.
They work really good for holding the pieces together though, don't they?
Right, they do. So I've got those done, and then of course my M1s and M3s are in a single pile by themselves, and I'll just put those on top. And ahead of time I made up my bag. Judy keeps everything very well organized, and you put everything in pre-numbered bags. And it told you in your instructions to make up a bag number 1, and it tells you in your instructions to put these cut units into bag 1.